Yeah, freestyle. Yeah, I can't freestyle.
No, I don't think
But I can do the beginning of every freestyle though. Every freestyle is like that, where they're like, let's see if I can catch this beat. Yeah.
Turn the bass up.
About the freestyle. Yeah. That's my character, a guy who never starts. He just does this for 40 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn my headphones up.
Yeah.
No rapper has ever asked to have their headphones turned down.
Yeah.
Yo,
It is too loud.
Yo. It's peaking. It's peaking. Yo, turn my headphones down.
Seriously, bro.
A little less symbol, please.
Welcome to Oh Dear.
Symbol?
Very specific request.
Such a, your classic symbol in a rap song. Every rap song has the symbol. I guess they do. The hi-hat.
Hi-hat. They always say hi-hat. Turn the hi-hat down or up. Need more snare in my vocals. Makes sense.
Hit up to 808.
It's funny. Christian made music. Christian was a touring
I always
musician.
forget this. Have we talked about this on the podcast yet? Because I know you mentioned it. I always forget that you were you were in a band.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah, we were professionally.
Made some money.
Yeah, we
drove around in a van.
We made money. I toured already. I did my touring. My comedy touring is just now it's just ancillary. Yeah, I was in a band. If you want to look,
it was called Kings of Leon.
Yes, they kicked me out. What if that was it?
Oh
and
my
I'm
God!
Just like, yeah, we just had a falling out. I don't really talk about it too much, but they're assholes.
You could totally. You would have been the biggest idiot in comedy because you for sure could have segued that into something.
What was the name of your band?
It's called Clock Hands Strangle.
Clock Hands Strangle.
Wow, that sounds emo as fuck.
I know. Well,
were you guys like a screamo band?
We started as like an emo band, and that's why the name is that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then we became like this indie folk band. Our music.
You were indie folk?
Yeah. If you want to check us out, we're on Spotify still.
I like how you say we like a band's still out there. You're like, dude, we're still
we're still doing it.
We're still together. We never broke up.
We're on hiatus.
Indefinite hiatus.
We kind of never had a breakup. It was just like everybody just put their instruments down slowly. It was just like one day everybody was like,
boy.
I think the last thing that was said in your band was, same time next Tuesday? And then
for some reason I just picture Christian in a ska band. And
I know.
He's just in the back with his keyboard with a fedora on, and everybody else like dun, dun,
what's
dun, dun,
the elbow dance that they do?
Who knows?
You know it. There's a ska elbow dance. I swear to God.
I really don't. I went to a lot of hardcore shows though. We used to be like this, started as an emo band and then sort of went to this folk shinzy kind of thing. But then in the meantime, there was this point where we were just doing. We weren't a hardcore band, but we'd do hardcore shows. Yeah. And it was intense, man. Those kids are nuts.
Were they? Yeah. You were like an indie folk-ish band. Yeah. At hardcore shows. Hardcore meaning metal, metal,
screamo, and stuff.
Get in the pit. Motherfuckers doing the spin kicks and shit.
Yeah. Now the conventional logic is that they hated you because you're not what they came for. But I could see it being different.
No.
Well, how did it go?
It wasn't always like that. It was more like there was one show and the next show was a hardcore show. So it was kind of like a bunch of people hanging out and then whatever, it's not my thing, but all right, let's get to the punching. That's kind of how it was. They were just it was like if you went to go see, if you were opening up for Kevin Hart, and then they were like, all right, this kid's nice, but let's go see, we came to see Kevin Hart.
Right, but I even feel like the contrast between me and Kevin Hart in terms of strictly our content is a less of a gap.
Yes, that's true.
Than, because most of my act is me being a black father of two.
Superstar black father.
A very short African American father, superstar of several children.
Yeah.
No, but so
we put out 2 albums.
Oh my God,
2 albums.
You guys are prolific.
2 legit. We signed a record contract.
What?
The Carrot Top's manager. Carrot Top's former manager, and he's also the guy who found Carrot Top and who's the other Gallagher, who just passed away.
Gallagher died?
No. This manager. I forgot his name.
Very much different responses from me.
I feel so bad I forgot his name. But he was a really nice dude. He wanted to sign us, and we were kind of I don't know, because he had all these other bands that were doing local Florida shows that were like playing on like the boardwalk and stuff, and it was like kind of cheesy, so we didn't want to do it. But Gary Proper, he is the executive producer of the first 1990s Ninja Turtles movie. He did a lot, man. There's a lot going on. It was just crazy. I don't even know how we got hooked up with him, but like, yeah, every time I see his name, anytime I watch Ninja Turtles, the first one I see his name on there. He had the foresight in like 1989 to buy. He's like, these comic book movies are gonna be the shit, and everybody's like, you're a fucking idiot. So he bought the rights to the Ninja Turtles movie, and they made them
for very little relative money.
And then he made a ton of money.
And then didn't they make a Megan Fox?
Yeah. I caught the very first Ninja Turtles movie on like AMC or something. It holds up, man. That's a good movie,
and it looks good too.
It's fucking it looks amazing. It's in like 90s, late 80s New York City, and it's like dirty and gritty. Well, it's amazing.
Well, I think. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about. Let's keep the spotlight on one of the Stranglers. Is that what you called your? What'd you call your fans?
No,
the Cock Stranglers.
We didn't call them anything.
Oh, the clock. Yeah.
You know what sucks? As I found them on Spotify, but I can't play it because I don't have like the plug that goes into the thing.
Oh.
Because, you know, the new iPhone jack is like this.
Yo, yeah? Is that the problem? Because Daddy got a dongle.
Daddy got a dongle, huh?
Daddy got a dongle.
Wait, I think I have a dongle. Would you be embarrassed if we played a song?
No, I still
Dude, he's like, no, we were fucking good, bro.
Any way to get the word out.
Give me a second.
Fuck this comedy thing, man. You're still on.
I'm trying to get this band to blow up so I can fucking get off this goddamn podcast.
Weirder things have happened. Weirder things have happened in music, man.
He's like, I only started this stupid fucking comedy and this stupid podcast.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be honest. I've listened. Oh, you got a dongle? I've listened to Christian's stuff before. Like I've listened to a few songs, and it's not funny because it's solid. Like it's okay. I'm not trying to shit on it.
The most popular is desert music.
Yeah, I would play As Is. Because that was always my favorite one. Our lead singer was Todd, who you guys both
I know
know.
Todd.
Yeah.
Shout out to Todd.
I was always a big fan of this song.
Oh, good work, Whit.
It's a little bit punk rock.
This sounds like a real band.
This is good.
It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
By the way, I know Todd.
Pause it for a second.
Doesn't Todd listen to this podcast?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, dude, they played our song.
This is
we got played on the radio.
We are in B-Box Radio right now.
We're on the fucking radio.
Yeah.
I just really want, because the music's good. Like that's a good beat and everything. Yeah. But I really want the vocals to kick in. It's like, my mom's a huge fucking bitch.
No.
Or it starts off and it's inexplicably like, you're like, what the fuck?
You ruined a good beat. Like, no, keep it going. Christian, are you bass?
I was like piano on this song. Very Modest Mousy.
Yeah.
I never really heard it until people like said it, and I was like, oh, I guess. But I was never.
I'm actually really impressed. I'm like, this is really good.
Pause it. This is what pisses me off. Whitmer has said every piece of music I've ever showed him is like bullshit.
Because it is, dude. You listen to the worst
bullshit,
fucking music
like,
ever.
In your words, gay indie rock.
Dude, I wouldn't
And then
say
we
that.
play his gay indie rock, and you're and you're into it.
Yeah, this is good.
Also, you know what's hilarious?
This is better, by the way, than any of the things you played me in the car.
All right, this is
This is better. Your band, by the way, is better than Arcade Fire, Christian.
thank you.
In my opinion. I'd much rather listen to your band every time than those stupid...
Yes.
Ugh, I hate Arcade Fire.
No,
Anyway.
that's just because you like him. But this is like, to me, emblematic of dude friendship. You guys are among each other's best friends. Fair to say.
Yeah.
Whitmer was like, oh, yeah, you were in a band. Like, that's a pretty big part of your life and an interesting thing that Whit, like, kind of was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like sometimes I go, oh yeah, you grew up on a mountain. It goes both ways. Like,
yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. And which do you think was worse? Want to keep it going? Should we finish the song or is that too long?
This next part is dope. I gotta be honest. I just really like this part.
No such thing as silence. No such thing as birth. No such thing as death. Look, here, one just came. Look, there, one just left.
We were playing a lot of Guitar Hero at the time. I'm not joking.
Pause it. So Christian made a face during that, like, the chant part where he goes, no such thing.
No,
and I saw his face twitch, and he was into it.
No, I was saying so deep.
So deep. There's no such thing as silence?
Yeah.
So here's a question I have. Did Todd your lead singer, he wrote the lyrics?
He wrote the lyrics.
How often, what's it like being in a band when your frontman comes up to you and is like, guys, I got the lyrics, and then you look at him and you're like, well, how do you manage that?
Most of the time he would have to explain what they meant to me. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, that's actually kind of like when someone explains like the novel they're writing, you're like, oh, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So you don't really like think
about How many friends do you know writing novels?
Well,
I know you mean.
You know, it's like when someone tells you a bit. And you're like, even if like the joke isn't there, you're like, oh, I get what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I was always just like, I always guess I had the perspective of like, oh, this shit's like, the idea is dope. So
yeah.
But a lot of times I would be like, this is a cool idea. But half the time I'd have to get them explained to me.
Because I just love the idea of a band being like, you're still jamming out, but you're just on stage and you're like, yeah, but this one sucks. But you still have to be in jam mode.
Yeah, you got to be
putting on a show. If you're,
That's true.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if that existed for a band member.
I was fortunate enough. I don't think I disliked any of our songs. I got to be honest.
That's awesome. And you guys made 2 records.
Yeah, that's why I can still listen to this.
How often do you listen to it?
Oh, not often. I mean,
every week or two.
Once a year, maybe.
That's pretty impressive. I found a clip on. I was cleaning up like storage on my computer, and I found this clip of me doing 20 minutes when I was like,
oh yeah,
2.5 years into stand up, and I'm like watching that, just like cringing, going like, ugh. So it's pretty good that this music stands the test of time.
Well, it's easier because I'm not listening to myself. Like I'm listening to everybody else in the band. I'm like, dude, fucking, our drummer is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me.
That is true. Where you're like, oh, this is just this. Who's 4 of you?
5, including me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What were the instruments?
Drums, bass, guitar, 2 guitars, and then I was like everything else, like piano, fucking
utility player.
Yeah, exactly.
Trumpet,
trombone.
Oh my god! There's the one instrument I was looking for.
Yeah, there's always one weird instrument in indie.
Yeah, it's normal drums, guitar, bass, and then I was trombone.
Mm-hmm. I played some other shit too.
Who got laid the most?
Our guitarist.
Really?
Yeah,
was he very handsome?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he just looked like a normal dude to me, but like girls would go crazy.
Really?
Yeah, he got laid a lot on tour, like a lot.
What's his name?
Nick.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I see it.
It runs in the first name.
Yeah. I only have friends named Nick.
It's funny.
But yeah, he was. There was one time where he was with a girl in the van. We had a van back then. I think it was in Mississippi, and he like hooked up with her, and that's back when we all smoked weed.
Yeah.
So we had like this pipe that was like in the shape of a snake, and then we left it in there, and then we came back after he hooked up with her in the van, and the pipe was like broken right in half, and we were just like the whole rest of the tour we were just joking that he fucking broke it in her pussy, and he was like, stop. We're like, dude, Nick, why did you break it off in her fucking snatch?
I love how you can still bully that guy.
I know.
Even though he's like the guy getting laid all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know,
he
really.
somehow is the loser.
That's so funny, dude. That only works like I swear to God, man. I was at an open mic and there's this comedian. I won't say his name, but he's notoriously very handsome. And like it was just an open mic where the first 7 comics got up and said something about how handsome he was. They're like, "God damn it, you're handsome." And then this guy gets up on stage, the 8th guy at the open mic, and he's like, "Guys, will you fucking quit it?" Like he was being bullied by being talked about how adorable he was.
Well, it's annoying.
Yeah, but the thing is like when if someone kept complimenting you about something, you'd be like, "Hey, you're really funny. You're really funny." You wouldn't be like, "Guys, stop it." But it made him feel insecure because it made him feel different.
That is interesting.
Isn't that weird?
That idea
Yeah.
that if you're the different one, you can feel bad, even
Right.
if it's
Yeah.
a value positive thing. You're
Yeah.
attractive. I feel that way at locker rooms with my penis hanging out. It's just,
You don't realize that story was about me, but thanks. He was trying to protect my feelings.
Yeah. It was definitely Christian who was really hurt.
Yeah.
do you
But-
think? Can you see a world in which clock hand strangle?
Yeah.
You know, you really shouldn't have done that name.
I know it was it was like we came up with it when we were 18 and emo.
Fuck.
And then like it just after a while we would just be CHS
Clock strangle's better. Clock
Yeah.
strangle.
or just clocks.
The clocks.
I kind of love that. It's so uncool.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like you would be a Talking Heads inspired band. We're the clocks because it's so like analog-y and in that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I still like it.
Are you gonna reunite the band ever?
I mean I won't, but
I genuinely think.
they'll all be at my wedding. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, I'm going to have several $50 bills in my pocket. I'm just going to get them to play a song.
Dude, we gotta have
I would
drums
not
there.
be able to. I would not be able to. Play
I know
at
what we
all.
need. We need drums. Mm-hmm. We need a microphone. We need a guitar, and we
Yeah.
need a trombone.
Yeah, that's it. Dude, you lose it. Like if you haven't played like a brass instrument for a while, you actually like literally lose your
Lung
like,
power?
not even your lung power, but your muscle control in your lips or in your cheeks. So I would be up there and I'd go like it would be bad. They'd all be playing well and I'd
Oh,
be
man.
like it'd be really upsetting.
And that's just your backup vocals.
Yeah.
Hey,
It'd be very deflating for my wedding.
that was fun, man.
Yeah, shout out to Clock Hand Strangles. God, it sounds like a serial killer.
You are
the Clock Hand Strangler.
Very violent name, yeah.
You already dadified it.
I know.
You know what dadifying it is? It's when
course,
you
yeah.
make it plural for
Yeah.
no reason.
Yeah.
That's what my dad does. Every band. Even ones he'll call Modest Mouse. He's like, "Hey, the mice." And he has to make it plural. All right.
Wait a second. The mice? That sounds like a joke.
That's how he talks though about bands. He makes them plural.
The Arcade Fires.
The Arcade Fires. All right. Hey. All right.
The mice one's the funniest one because he's like the modest mice because I'm talking about all of them.
Yeah. No. So he has to. All right. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to say mouse for,
Yeah.
one mouse.
Or he'll drop
Several
an adjective.
mice.
There's one band. My dad, I think, has one guilty pleasure musically that he's upfront about. Because my dad's, classic rock type guy, Tom Petty, Beatles, etc. But the one group he loves that made pop was Backstreet Boys.
Oh, wow.
But I think the way he gets away without having to say I like the Backstreet Boys is he'd just be like, all right, the boys. You're like, no, you don't get a drop. The boys could kind of be the Beatles. You could say that about
the
any.
Beach
Yeah.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's the boys, it's the
Boys.
Beach
It's
Boys.
the-
Not
yeah, right.
fucking Backstreet Boys.
The boys.
Oh,
Boys.
man.
Like you grew up with them or something.
I know.
Like they're your friends in high school. Oh,
How
the
funny
boys
is it that the
made
Backstreet Boys are now a band again and they're making music as like 51-year-old men?
Really?
Because
They
that's
are?
the power of nostalgia. That's all it takes.
You know what would be a great movie idea? 78-year-olds reunite their boy band at a retirement home.
I don't think there's any. Well, unless you count like the Beatles and stuff as a boy band, but
They kind of were.
well, I mean,
yeah.
well, then every band is a boy band that has all male members because they.
Well,
like,
the thing was, they were like they dressed alike and got their hair cut together. Like it was a very
yeah,
it was
I
a
mean,
very
Yeah, there's no way 4 mustaches happened coincidentally.
You know
Yeah.
how you know if it's a boy band is if they play instruments or not. If they don't play instruments, which is most of them, it's not a boy. It's a boy band.
So the Jonas Brothers aren't a boy band.
No, they're brothers.
Right.
I don't know. It just to me that they're like, well, I guess the
All
purity
right.
ring thing.
The brothers. All right.
The brothers.
All right.
I guess it depends because I was listening to Sarah, my fiance, is obsessed with the Jonas Brothers for some terrible reason, and they were talking about they were on something Hot Ones, and they were talking about how they were supposed
for
to be.
people who don't know, that's that show on YouTube where they eat hot wings, right? Like
Yeah.
super spicy and they get
Yeah,
angry.
it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah.
but they were like Disney fabricated
Just
this
to
band
give
and
more
wanted.
context about the show, since you wanted to skip over that, it's hosted by a man named Sean
Evans.
Evans,
That first
and
tweet
he
based.
interviews rappers, comedians. I now want to just give I want to give so much context
Just do
to
the whole Wikipedia
just
page.
to fucking annoy you because I was like, yeah, you didn't need to interrupt my story for that.
It's like for those who don't know, like it's not that pertinent
The
to the
word
story.
"hot" means warmer, and
Ones.
sorry, yeah,
It refers to the wings that they're eating.
Yeah.
So it's a show.
But so Sarah was watching.
On Hot Ones, and basically like they were supposed to be called like J3 or something like that instead of the Jonas Brothers, and they
Oh, okay.
like they were actually supposed to be more of a bastardization of what they ended up being, I think.
What do you mean a bastardization?
Like, you know how they just completely fabricate boy bands? They just take
Yeah.
5 guys and turn them into a band.
Yeah.
Well, these guys were brothers, and they actually knew each other, and they actually wanted to play certain music, and they were kind of like heavily, like they would make them shave every time. Like they had a 5 o'clock shadow on stage one time, and they were still like teeny bopper age or whatever, and like Disney was like, you can't ever do that again. Like they're crazy controlling over those
Yeah.
guys. It's insane. So yeah, they're a boy band, I guess, technically.
yeah, that's one thing that's fascinating to me. One thing that's fascinating to me is almost band names or almost record names or titles of a thing.
Yeah.
The Beatles were at one point they were called the Quarrymen, and their
Yeah.
manager was like, be the Beatles. It just sounds better. And they were like, all right, we'll do it. But this is my favorite example of that. It's an album by the Beastie Boys. I think I've told you this before, Christian. One of their most iconic albums, I believe it's Licensed to Ill.
Yeah.
Fantastic album. Great record name, too. Licensed to Ill. It's like
Yeah.
a fun play on words. That was not the Beastie Boys' desired album title.
Yeah.
That was given to them by a record exec. Their desired album title, and this is 100% true, you can look this up, their original album title was Don't Be a Faggot. I swear,
Are you serious?
I swear to God,
Wow.
this is
God.
not. You can Google this.
Holy shit.
That was what they wanted to call their album was Don't Be a Faggot. And the record
Wow.
exec was like, hey guys. And I know we always
Was that
paint
Rick-
record execs as
Was
like,
that Rick Rubin who like
I don't know, but
Wow.
Rick Rubin.
got it?
Yeah.
They're almost
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Eddie Murphy stand-up of music.
I know.
Imagine if you had to put that on like a top 100 list still.
Oh,
you know what I
man.
mean? You know, it's a great album, but
It's on a T-shirt, and someone's like,
Yeah.
"I like that album." The guy's like, "No, I didn't know this was an album." This is what do you mean album?
What
I just
album?
liked what it said.
What's hip hop?
yeah, yeah.
That's
I
really
thought-
funny.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
One thing I don't really get about boy bands, and maybe this is not a boy band thing, but like I can't really fathom the rise of BTS. You know what BTS
Yeah,
is?
me either. Me
I
either.
don't really get it. I mean, it's not for me to get. I'm 32 years old, but
Really?
yeah.
Oh, sorry. You don't have to.
You're gonna need the visual. You're gonna need the video of this for.
You don't
to
gotta
get
lie
that
about being like we know the clock hand strangle existed before the internet, dude. We know you were not a MySpace band, but yeah,
BTS.
Korean pop boy band.
Korean pop boy band. Just because like we don't really like Americans don't really fuck with outside entertainment
Yeah, not at all.
other than like art house cinema or something.
And
like.
British people,
And
Spice
British.
Girls and stuff like that.
But even then, it's like
of all the music that's been made by
no, I'm
British
talking about-
people,
I'm talking
yeah,
about
British
boy
music
bands.
like Spice Girls. Oh, okay, yeah.
you're talking about like boy bands. And,
but like Oasis and stuff. And
Yeah,
they all
yeah.
had. But they had like a time in the 90s.
yeah,
Whereas like, you know, Gangnam Style was like and the Macarena. Those are like one hit wonder weirdo kind of like
yeah.
you know anomalies. Whereas BTS is like. These girls are like, oh my god, I fuck every single one of them.
I don't
Like,
get it
it's
because they're
weird.
all the same. They cloned one Asian guy 9
Yeah.
times and just colored his hair different colors, and
That's
that's
what it looks
BTS.
like.
I saw them at SNL. I was actually there, and I was with some friends who
I
work
think
at the
that's
show.
just technically racist.
What? My observation of them? I mean, go look at a picture. I mean, I'm just saying. It's an observation. It's the same guy 9 times with different hair. I'm not joking. Go look at the pictures. They cloned the one guy. They're like, you're the one guy with music talent in Korea. We're going to clone you 7 times. And yeah, that's it.
And also that
and you
there's 7
notice,
of
by
them.
the way, I've seen them in interviews. Only one of them speaks English, so he has to reiterate the rest of the band.
Really?
That's the guy who was the original. The rest of them don't even speak as their clones.
They don't
It's like
speak Korean.
multiplicity.
They don't
Dude,
speak any.
They don't speak anything, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no other
They're
head.
all like a little bit off from
Yeah.
the original, like Multiplicity. You ever see that movie?
Oh yeah.
So I went to SNL, and they were.
No, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know why I did that.
Really, dude?
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
But I agreed with the first part, and then you said the second part, and then I was
Right.
like, I don't want to be a liar, so I had to come clean.
Okay,
So
I'll
Sarah.
try. I'll try again. I was at SNL, and
The show, it's SNL is a show.
it's a show. It's on
comedy show.
NBC.
On NBC.
On Saturday nights
On
at
Saturday
11:30.
nights. It's called Ask Saturday Night Live because it's a live show.
Many famous comedians have come
Yep,
out of it.
and they always have a musical guest. In this case, the musical guest was BTS, right?
Right.
That's what they call it. BTS.
Which stands for?
I don't know.
No, I'm just fucking with
No
you.
one-
I don't think anybody knows.
Anyway, so you heard people. So I was upstairs in the offices watching
Yeah.
the show and like on the computers, and literally you heard people on the street level screaming.
Yeah.
And when we left, we went to the after party. We walked out the doors, and I really fucked with these people because there were just 100 people on either side of me. As soon as I walked out, I started waving like I was somebody, and I got a. It was so fucking funny. But then we went to the after party, and literally at the after party, and they weren't anywhere to be found because
course
those
not.
people would never go to an
Yeah.
after party.
Why? Because they can't
They can't do anything.
be in a public
Yeah,
setting.
they can't be anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, they really can't be anywhere.
Even I don't know how big the SNL after party is. How big is it?
Well, they usually
Just
take
straight up
they
people.
take over an entire bar or restaurant.
Right, but I'm sure a big one. It's
Yeah.
like 250 people.
Yeah, I
more?
mean, yeah.
Like even people invited to an after party, would they like
But I'm
mess
wa-
with them? Not mess with.
I mean,
but-
I don't think the people who work at SNL would mess with them. I don't. Think,
course not,
I don't
yeah.
think they give a shit. But I think that because outside of the after party were several people. And by the way, I'm looking at these girls. They're probably 15 years old. They're sitting on a street of New York City with another 15-year-old girl. It's
Just
like
waiting in a
2:30 in the
seat,
morning. I'm like, who are your parents? Like,
Yeah.
like I never would have been allowed to do anything like this as a kid. But they didn't show up to the after party because I don't think that it's literally safe for them to be anywhere. I think,
Right.
I just think they have to be from hotel room to limo to plane.
No, you're
and
right.
that's it. That's the only thing. That's the only place they're safe.
I was working at the Ed Sullivan building, and they had BTS on Colbert, and I'm just like, I'm on the 3rd floor, just by a window, and all of a sudden you hear like this huge gaggle of girls because they had just gotten out of the car, and these girls were screaming
Oh my God.
so loud you could hear it on the 3rd floor. So they did Colbert show or whatever, and then I'm leaving work around 6 or 7 or whatever it is. I'm walking out, and the security guy's like, "Which way are you going?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Which way are you going, left or right?" I'm like, "Left." He's like, "Good, because you can't go right, because they blocked the whole street off for these guys
Jesus
to like
Christ.
leave."
God.
And there was just there's like hundreds of people there.
You know how popular they are that there's a second version of the band, and it's like a Kmart to the Walmart. It's like a knockoff version.
That's not
of it.
true, is it?
Yeah, this is 100% true.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
And they're literally called like KB5. Like I'm not even joking. I'm not kidding in any way at all. They were on. So my fiance produces for a couple shows on ABC. She's I think it was Strahan and Sarah is the daytime show. They were the musical guest on Daytime and Sarah. And it was the same shit, dude. Everybody showed up, obsessed with it. And I'm like, I think it was the little brother of the guy in the original band, and they cloned the little brother 7 times, and then made that band
Yeah.
because it's completely contrived. But
That's how big BTS is the same group. Like the market exists for another of them to exist.
yeah.
And they also have 2 billion fans.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
Like
crazy.
they're not
Yeah.
like, oh, like if you're a clone of a pretty big band, you wouldn't be able to make a living.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because it's like record executives are like Amazon. They're like, people who bought this also would buy this. So they literally have an algorithm. They just invent a new band.
I want them to.
That's what they
there's
do.
just so many Korean boy bands. I bet there's now a shit ton, actually, if you want to be
Probably.
honest. And but I would bet if they get so desperate for like people because there's so many bands, they just start throwing in white guys. And
Yeah, there's just a black guy in there, just like, all right.
well, this is what I've always felt about boy bands, and this is why BTS is weird to me. They're all the same age. That's not how it should be. A boy band when we were growing up was 4 teenagers and then one 29-year-old. I swear to God, look it up.
It was like an episode of Entourage.
There will be Timberlake 18, like Joey Fatone was like 20, and then like JC Chavez was like 29, and you're like, you're at a different stage of life. It's not cool.
I'm trying to remember the Backstreet Boys. But isn't like Kevin?
Yes,
is that the one
he's
who's like
the oldest
46?
one. Yeah. Who
And
is
he's
Joey
just hanging out-
Fatone?
Yeah.
I love Joey Fatone,
But it's weird because that, like, you bring up this interesting thing that it weirds me out about BTS is like, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, there was like always like no more than 5. Like BTS is like 7.
Yeah.
And like the 8th guy got
Because
killed.
the
or
scientist
something.
got greedy. He's like, I can make
Yeah.
7.
Which is weird. It's like how
I can
many
do
And
it.
they're like, no, you can't. He was like, watch me.
It's just I don't hear 7 harmonies. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Well, there's only 5 ways. Yeah, isn't like the 5th hammer of harmony, where it's like if 4 hammers are hitting simultaneously, then you add a 5th that actually disrupts the.
You're the one music.
I should know this.
Yeah, so the 5th hammer is what if you have 4 hammers hitting a piece of iron in unison, they have like a melody or whatever you say, they harmonize. But if you add one 5th hammer into that same thing, it fucks everything up. It,
Really?
Like, yeah, it distorts the sound.
So BTS is 3 clones fucking
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, dude. That's why 3 of them are lip syncing.
That's a controversy. Right there.
How funny that'd be. Only 3 of them are lip syncing.
I don't even like. They all have different hair, and you're right. I didn't even know there was like Severin. I didn't know there was seven.
Severin.
Seven.
Severin.
God damn it!
Spit it out, stupid.
7 different hair colors that could exist.
Yeah,
Even like
Roy G.
doing
Biv.
crazy ones.
Yeah.
Roy G. Biv.
Roy G. Biv. They're
Yeah.
all the Roy G.
And
And
Teal.
the CMYK. They're the Roy G. Biv and CMYKs. They I don't know.
I don't really get it.
But
I don't
this
even
is-
know where they.
Do you
like,
think if we name this podcast after the names of these bands, we'll just get a bunch of hits?
Yeah.
It
we're
might
doing it.
be
Let's give it a
smart
shot.
to just be like the BTS.
The BTS episode.
The BTS episode.
And then in the description it'd be like super fans, Christian, Bret, Nick talk about all their favorite songs.
And then we get a bunch of like BTS
Yeah.
fangirls like who listen, and then like 20 minutes in, they're like, they're talking about this fucking clock hand strangle shit. What is this?
we played a clock and string. We make BTS fans. But then somehow BTS finds out about it and it's
Yeah.
like, that's pretty good.
a good song,
and then
man.
they sample it.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Clock and strangle. Back together, baby.
It's not even. They just get a big royalty check, but it only goes to one of them. It goes to Todd. He's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm the one who wrote it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
What I think that's such an interesting piece of like entertainment, not medium, but entertainment content that's like geared toward 13 to like 11 to 18-year-old girls is like that is such a weird thing to be in, especially if they are like are they like 20? Like that's just
would think
weird.
so.
It's just I would feel just weird about myself.
Yeah.
Not even like they're doing anything like explicit or offensive.
Right.
It's just I'd feel weird if
Well, it's
you
weird.
picture you had millions of 15-year-old. I mean, your
Yeah.
stand-up having
Yeah, exactly.
millions would be fucking.
15-year-old girl fans, I'd be like, what am I, like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, it's that's weird that they would be
You're like,
into me
I'm
like
a
that.
millionaire, but it just
Like,
doesn't feel
this
right.
is odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no dudes my age are like, fuck with me whatsoever. It's all 15-year-old girls.
Didn't
somehow.
a rapper diss Jermaine Dupri for that, for having just 15-year-old fans?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember
He got
who.
in
I was
trouble?
hoping that would spur
No,
your
some
memory. 'Cause
rapper dissed
I
him.
think it was like Jay-Z or something who literally was like, all your fans are 14 years old. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it might have been Dr. Dre, because I think
Yeah.
they had a beef at
Oh,
some
yeah,
point.
it's probably
Yeah.
Dre.
Keep my fucking name out your mouth. And then they played Timberland. He's like, tell him suck. Chicka chicka. My dick. That's my favorite thing.
Dude,
Wait,
diss tracks
what-
used to
wait,
be
wait,
so
what
much
is that?
better, man.
It was on, I think it was on Eminem's, one of Eminem's albums or something. They did a diss diss song to Jermaine Dupri. And Dr. Dre had beef with Jermaine Dupri over some stupid shit.
Who won in the
probably Dr.
long
Dre.
term?
Oh, Dr. Dre, easy.
He did.
Yeah, because of beats.
Just beats.
I mean, just look at the
It's
guy's
not even
career.
about,
it has nothing to do with
I don't know. I feel like Jermaine Dupri is might be bigger.
No.
in body weight.
No, than Dr. Dre.
No, not even a little bit. In terms of
What are you
legacy,
talking about?
no.
It's
Are
close.
you this is a bit?
No.
This has to be a bit. I'm like, what is he talking
I
about?
was like, it's weird that you think that.
That was my acting exercise for the day.
This guy's about to be like.
You know what's crazy? Real quick.
I have a soundboard now.
Oh, very good. I love how it's a delay, though.
Yeah, well, it's
I know.
typical technology where you
It,
push the button and it plays 4 minutes later.
Totally ruins your timing on it. You're like, oh yeah, Bret, is that what you want to? Well, now there's pressure to be funny that I gotta have crickets go on after I say something that
Now it's
sucks.
just gonna be like, oh wow, look at that girl over there. Auga.
What is you're completing your transformation into a true shitty radio DJ.
Wow.
So it's gonna suck.
We're gonna be taking your
Cristian.
calls. Tell
You
us
know
what
what's
you
funny
think
is some of them are literally 2 seconds, and the other ones will be like 40 seconds. And you're like, geez, that keeps going. This is. Yeah. Anyway, you.
I guarantee one of them, just because I know how internet soundboards work,
Oh God,
it's gonna be the whole song.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you know what's really funny is they just got me. They pranked me because that button was called female orgasm.
Oh. You had to silence that yourself.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
how long they hit unsilence.
It's
oh,
gone.
thank God.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what I was gonna say, but
Oh dear.
couldn't have been better than that Rickroll. Oh dear for that.
Just a fart noise. Well, you know.
It's like this is why those morning radio stations that kind of got really corny.
Fuck you. I want to have my own noises, but
you-
I'll just use my mouth. Go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Hey, Bret.
Get to the chopper! Imagine a person who that's their thing is
Yeah.
they have internalized internet soundboards the way people internalize movie quotes.
Yeah.
And they just feel at any moment to just go.
It's like that guy from Police Academy who can make every noise.
Yeah.
But did it
Yeah.
to people when they were talking?
But I realized this. So I got this
He's
before
like,
the
"Me
podcast.
so horny." It's like, what?
I got this before the podcast, and I realized, you make
baby.
fun of the you make fun of the hacky radio people who use them, but then when you get introduced to the power of this, you realize how much it corrupts because you just want to be like, it's just so fun. It doesn't get old ever.
If we weren't here, this show would just start with Whit going, "What's up?"
We gotta do an hour podcast of just Wit alone with his soundboard, and his soundboard isn't that expansive. It's like 40 sounds.
Yeah.
But he's telling a really serious story, and he's using these weird sounds to emphasize it.
Yeah, so that was when my mom was diagnosed.
Oh man, I just want to keep doing these. I'll stop there. I promise.
All right, you can throw.
Falcon Punch!
Wow,
What was that?
Falcon Punch?
You never played
Falcon
Smash
Punch.
Brothers?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Were you telling a story? Who was telling a story?
I was.
even remember.
I have something to make fun of you about.
What a great lead in.
Yes, let's do it.
So yesterday, Christian.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
This is great. I had texted Whit, "Hey man, I'm in your neighborhood. Want to meet up, hang out, and write?" And he was like, "Sure." So I said, "Perfect. He come over to my place 6:45. Get there at 6:45." He's like, "Hey man." And then he goes, "I got a call 10 minutes. It's going to last 15 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh." And I go, "Oh, what's your call? Is it job stuff?" And he goes, "No, it's just wedding stuff. It'll be 15 minutes." And I go, "Oh, dude, no worries." So that call took pull it up on your phone. How long?
It was
that call?
literally
56
45
minutes. 50, and then me and Whit hung out for about 12 minutes.
Oh, good.
And then he was like, "Hey man, I gotta go cook dinner." I was like, "Well, I'm glad I podcasted your wedding plan conversation." But here's what he was doing and I know what you were doing. He would turn the wedding planning conversation with his fiance and the wedding planner on mute, and then to me be like, these fucking idiots. And then unmute and go, yeah, no, that sounds good. And then mute it and be like, I mean, really? But then there'd be times where he'd mute it and talk for about 5-6 minutes.
Oh, without realizing.
And then he would unmute it and actually talk for like 5-6 minutes, then mute it, and to me be like, these idiots. Unmute, keep talking. And then I realized, no, I'm the one he's muting. You're muting me. And later you're gonna be talking with your fiance and be like, "Oh my god, I did this fucking hilarious thing to Bret," where I kept to him being like, "Oh yeah, I'm involved in whatever you're saying," and then just, "Oh yeah, those chrysanthemums sound good."
Yeah, so the funny thing about it was I feel terrible about it because
dude.
Well, no, because I was on my way. So Sarah had a scheduled call with our wedding coordinator, but for some reason I didn't think that I was going to be part of it because I didn't think I was going to be part of it. Because like she emailed her to talk about something specific, and I was like, oh, okay, they can just hash this out.
Yeah.
And then I'm literally on my way to meet you, and then I get a text from Sarah. It's like, I'll 3-way call you in at 7. I go, ah, fuck. And like on a wedding, you can't in the wedding be like, nah, you do it, because that's just, you're an asshole. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm like, I have to be a part of this.
Disagree.
So,
tell him we have company. Who?
But I really
Bret.
thought we were talking about fucking decorations. I thought it would be 15 minutes. I really did. How long? But of course, 45 minutes.
Yeah, you can talk a long time about decorations.
See, but here's why I'm kind of not mad. Is that something I would do to you to fuck with you? I would make you come over and listen to me have a conversation. Dude, we literally hung out after your call for like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
I had a bubble tea, and then halfway through my tea, he was like, hey, I gotta actually go. I thought this
was that your way of just like, let me put some FaceTime in with Bret.
100%. It felt like he was trying to get to the minimum amount of time to be with me to also minimize the amount of flack he could get.
It's true.
Because if you had hang up, and then we're like, I actually got to get back and just start cooking dinner. You know I could have gone in hard on you, but you were like, well, now I got to do like a courtesy 18 minutes.
I remember when I stood up to leave, though, I said,
This is Sparta!
And it was a really good impression.
He does a great King Leonidas.
Yeah, dude, no one fucks with like Leonidas.
He does the only King Leonidas.
Well, that also could have become a classic stand-up, like a stereotypical bad joke where someone do one of those.
Which one?
Just
Anyone?
do the This is Sparta again.
This is Sparta!
And then you'd be like, and then the waiter came up to me and said, "Sir, this is a Chili's." Do you know that?
And then I said,
Shut up!
and then he said,
Bruh.
Fuck off!
oh boy, this is how you become a hack. It's fun to hit a watermelon with a hammer.
You're gonna need to like cut up clips from the show and then just.
Well, I was actually thinking like maybe we could produce the show more and have like segments and maybe have like intro music to certain segments. I was trying to think of like a way of doing this a little bit more prepared, and then I found the soundboard and I was like, nah, this is good. This is fine, dude. I mean,
Bazinga!
I mean, come on.
I don't even know what that one is.
That's a terrible show, actually.
Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
quote.
okay. Yeah. Glad we got that one in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it to the Big Bang Theory in a soundboard to kind of bum me out.
It's like you're not even familiar with a comedy and you're like, ugh.
yeah, good vibes in the air.
I just want to like now. I just want to pull clips from this show and take them out of context, like Bret going, "Don't be a faggot." And just like play it.
And you're like, yeesh.
And the way
Ooh,
my
God,
face is
I
like
know.
lit up like a Christmas tree, like, guys.
You somehow make it sound like he's talking about BTS.
Yeah.
You really piss off their fans.
Yeah, you could cut it so Whit was like, yeah, so Sarah went and saw BTS. Don't be a... And then cut back to Whitmer and he goes, like...
It puts like fucking like Photoshop sunglasses on you, like for the whole video.
But yeah, I had to make fun of you for that. I wrote it down in my phone.
That's totally fair.
To talk to you about that.
I felt like I had.
I can tell you guys about the fight that happened in my boxing gym.
Oh yeah, you are boxing, which is like we haven't talked about that, have
Yeah,
we?
I've joined a boxing gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell?
Why or no?
I can't. No.
Why?
Literally no difference.
Why'd you want to do that? I feel like comedians always want to box.
You know, there's part of me that knows in my bones that I have the potential to be a world champ, and I wanted to explore that. Really what it is honestly I just want to do something cardio and something physical.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something that wasn't just running.
Yeah.
Because I run a lot in my, as far as for working out goes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something that was like more power oriented.
Yeah.
And not that I feel powerful in my own way.
Yeah.
When
You know what I mean? I'm
yeah.
not like, oh, like this guy better not look at me wrong.
I feel like when you're doing an activity like that, you actually work harder because you're motivated. Whereas if you're running, there's always going to be a limitation to some degree.
Yeah.
Because you're just fucking doing it just to do it.
Yeah, and it's also fun.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fun
it. Yeah,
to
it's
punch
fun.
something.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
But this boxing gym. So when I was trying to select a boxing gym, I Googled it like anyone would do, and there were two choices that were kind of gyms nearby. One of them was a gym called Gym X, and the other one was like, I went to one, and their website was super sleek, and it was super perfectly graphic designed with like cool infographics flashing up at the right moment, and amazingly HD photos, and it was like, oh, this is like the SoulCycle equivalent.
Yeah.
And then I went to the other gym, Gym X, and their website was from like 1999.
So you know it's good.
And it was like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
I was like, that is the gym I will do. Because
Right.
this is an actual gym who's putting their money, they don't have much money,
Yeah.
but they're putting the money into the actual gym. And they're not just trying to be like 4 startup kids who are like, oh, we got to do something with.
Right. My dad gave me money.
Yeah. Oh, it's the SoulCycle of boxing.
Right.
So I joined that gym. Now, at that gym, he doesn't really train you.
He just beats the shit out of you.
This is the guy who like is the runner of it. He doesn't speak like any English,
Oh wow.
and I don't speak any Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So when he's trying to help me with my form, it really it's ineffective. That it could, and all it is like this dude, like when he tries to help, he just gets frustrated to the point where it almost feels like he thinks I'm intentionally fucking with him. And I
Yeah.
just want to be like, no, I suck at this. Like,
Right.
I'm not trying to make you mad
Yeah.
by not being good at boxing. I'm just not good at it. And I'll like throw a punch and he'll go, no! And I'm like, I don't know what you want. And he goes, and then he'll demonstrate the form. And I'm like, all right, I mimic that as much as I can. And he goes, Oy, Flaco! He calls me Flaco.
Is he annoyed that you're not like trying to be like a world champion?
No, I work, dude. I mean, I know. I'm sure
Like,
he's.
I mean, are there other people who are just like, no, I just do it for fun? or whatever?
he can tell from my body that I'm doing it for fun.
Right.
Like, there's no way a guy like in his late 20s comes in and
Yeah.
is trying
Is
to be.
trying to be Creed.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm starting my boxing career at 29.
Yeah, even though I'm, have a zucchini string noodle body. There was a fight that broke out in the gym, and not a boxing match.
Yeah.
I mean, a bare knuckle fist fight between one guy who also works the front desk, who was playing dominoes, and one man who ran into the gym.
I love the level of not give a fuck to fight at work. To literally be on the clock and you're like, I don't care. I'm going to beat the fuck out of this guy.
Well, dude, some guy just came in, and this is This is true, and it's gonna sound like I'm saying it to be funny. So here's what happened. As all good stories start, I was on the elliptical. And then I hear a crash, and I look behind me, and one guy is over another guy, and he's hitting his head. and I'm like, holy shit. And it is true that like there is no like bitch, like just bitchier workout piece of equipment when other men are bare knuckle brawling than just like
You're just on the elliptical.
you can't not have a ponytail when you're on the elliptical. You have a ponytail and you're 19
Just
and
gliding in place.
Yeah, and you're an Alpha Delta Pi. Gliding. So what ended up happening is they fought, and the guy who got sucker punched in the head, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know why they're fighting.
Yeah.
So, and the guy who got punched in the head eventually gets him off, and they crash through the trophy case.
Oh my
they
God.
don't break it, but it tips over, and all the dominoes go scattering, and they're fighting. And then the dude who runs the gym, he's like a little shorter than me, but he is like
Stout.
He's stout. He clearly, and when he shows me how to punch, it's like, oh, this guy, it's clearly could beat the shit out of anyone.
Yeah.
He's standing over just watching him fight just like this. And I'm like, there's a few others of us and we're all like, you're the one who intervenes. Like, first off, your gym. Second off, physically,
Yeah.
you are huge and you know how to fight. And he doesn't really intervene. Those guys take it outside, and guy who gets attacked gets pushed and his head goes underneath a truck tire.
Oh.
And when I saw that happen, I go, for a moment, I go, oh my God, am I going to have to watch a man's head get run over? This went from like kind of fun to probably the worst part of my day.
Yeah.
But it was a parked car, and that guy got back up. And then after they broke up, the attacker went to the sidewalk and he grabbed 2 printouts, like literally like 11 by 17 printouts
Like-
of what appeared to be, and in my like trying to see what it was, security cam stills.
Yeah.
And he goes, I know you stole from me, motherfucker. I know you stole from me, motherfucker. And that guy, the guy who got attacked, goes, I don't steal from nobody. On my kids, I don't steal from nobody. I work here.
And then
And
Bret
that-
was like,
Finish him!
That's precisely what happened. So then I beat the shit out of both of them because I'm now a human weapon. But the craziest part of the story is after they break up, and well, the one guy who got attacked goes, he's lucky I didn't have my gun.
Oh.
And I think
Jesus.
I think all of us were like, I'm very happy you didn't have your gun.
Fuck
And the
you.
guy who got attacked comes back into the gym, and after they finish fighting, they're both just really tired, bloody. Their heads have been mutually punched, and they're both like a few feet from each other, just like, we fought. Like, they're still both
Yeah.
standing, and they haven't resolved the issue with
Right.
like, all right, we're good. They're still mad at each other, and they're still jabbing jaws, but tired, where they're like, man,
Yeah.
fuck you.
That's the funny thing. The aftermath of a real fight. It's not like James Bond where like one dude's on the ground, one's like walking away from an explosion. Like, it's just 2 tired people.
They're
just
yeah,
still mad.
throwing 3 punches is really tiring.
Yeah.
yeah,
And trying to make sure you don't get knocked in the head is even more tiring.
yeah.
So, but this was my favorite part of the story is the guy who got attacked after the fight, that the attacker leaves, the guy who got attacked who does work at the gym kind of, or hangs out.
So is the guy who worked at the gym the guy who stole?
The guy who works at the gym is the guy who allegedly stole.
Okay. So this
But-
guy goes to his work with fucking proof in his hands and then just starts beating the shit out
Which
of him?
means, yeah, he went to like a Kinko's or something because they were like, it was that thick cardstock. It was
Yeah.
thick paper. It
So
wasn't just like.
who would you say won the fight? The guy who works at the gym or the guy who came in and attacked?
Actually, the guy who works at the gym, despite getting sucker punched in the back of the head while playing dominoes, found a way
God,
to
that
pull-
sucks. That guy didn't really have his moment then, or like confronting the guy who stole from him because
You're
he got
right.
his shit kicked out of him.
I should have walked up to him, grabbed his hand, and gone. Just raised it.
But you know what I mean? It was just like to be like the satisfaction of like I went to his work, I confronted him, then I beat the shit out of him, and then I left. It's like, oh, well, the first and last part happened,
Yeah.
but the middle part you kind of lost the fight.
He got some good punches in, mainly because you can get a good punch in if you punch someone in the back of the head.
Oh, yeah.
no matter what.
That's a bitch, man.
That's crazy.
It
Just
is.
to be like, yeah, some dude stole from me. I went to his work and he beat the shit out of me.
That would be a great story, though. Like, That's why you don't fucking fight people who work at boxing gyms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know,
that
really.
would be the last person who I would fight.
Yeah, and so that guy, the attackee, who comes back into the gym after the fight, and he yells. There's like 6 of us at the gym, and there were 3 of us on elliptical. Swear to God. And to the 6 people who are now watching, he goes, "All y'all are pussies." And I step up and I go, "What'd you fucking say?" No. You want to say it to my? I've had 3 boxing sessions.
And I just did 40 minutes on the elliptical.
at
ready to fucking go.
level 3. My knees feel great. But he goes, "All y'all are pussies. None of y'all had my back." And I'm like, okay. And then he goes one by one and goes, "You didn't have my back. You didn't have my back. You didn't." He points at me.
Yeah.
3rd session there. "You didn't have my back." And I'm like, I don't fucking know who you
Yeah,
are.
we're not boys.
This is the first time I've seen your face. This is the 3rd time I've worn punched
Yeah.
in my life.
Oh man, that's so funny.
So what am I gonna do? So
Like you were supposed to be like, "Oh shit,
So-
he's right.
yeah.
Ownership is 9 tenths of the law."
You're right, dude. My bad, dude. Let's go get him. Let's go fuck him up. No, so I fucked that dude
I love
up.
how he just starts calling out the customers at his gym. It's like, "You're customers." And like,
Yeah.
it's like if somebody comes into a bank and tries to rob it, and you didn't try to stop the robbery. You're like, "No, I don't have a
You
gun."
know what I wanted to say though? Honestly, you didn't have my back. I wanted to be like, I picked up the dominoes. I helped in some way. I cleaned this scene up.
Be like, "Well, I was rooting for you."
No one called the cops though.
That's great.
And yeah, that guy who ended up winning the fight. By the way, I wanted to take the Puerto Rican flag that was on the wall
Put it around
and
him.
just drape it around him.
Nothing better than an adult fight. It's so rare to see.
Oh my God, it's so rare, dude. I saw 2 and almost was a part of a 3rd fight. So 3 fight-related activities in 2 days in New York City.
Oh, really?
In my 5.5 years, I had like never seen a fight, and then
Yeah.
in the span of 2 days, 2 happened, and 1 almost happened at me. Where Jordan and I, my brother Jordan and I, were driving to a show, and we're driving on Broadway Street in Brooklyn, and a guy blocks the box. So we miss a light, and Jordan honked at him and flipped him off. And then that guy, upon the next green light, trailed Jordan, and then trailed him, and then drove in front of him, sped in front of him, slammed on the brakes, got out of the car, and was just like, "Get out of your car, we're fighting." And the guy comes up to Jordan's window, and Jordan just creaks it a little. And Jordan goes, "I'm not going to fight you, man." And then just drives around his car.
Dude, that happened to me one night. I was driving, and this is when I lived in the South before I even moved here. And it was on like the 2-lane roads, one going each way. And it got to the dotted line, and it was like a 45. And this guy in front of me was driving like 30.
Oh, boy. Oh,
So I just
really?
kind of like drove around him as anybody would on the
Yeah.
dotted line. And that apparently just set this guy off. So after I passed him, he fucking drives right up to my ass and he's honking his horn. He pulls around me and then cuts me off and then stops his car. And like I'm stopping and then I pull around. And it was like this game we played for what seemed to be a very long time. But I'm like, how fucking insecure are you that I just passed you and like that bothered you so
Going
much?
35.
You were literally like, he must have been texting or he wasn't paying attention clearly. That scared the shit out of me though, because when someone's that crazy,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a person who would kill. Like, I don't want to fuck with this person.
Those are people that win fights. Is people who have no
Who are ready to fight? Like,
yeah.
like they forget that you have a lot to lose
Yeah.
just by virtue of getting hit.
Yeah.
dude in a wife beater who already has blood on it. You know what I mean? I remember we were sitting at like an outside Chick-fil-A.
Dude in a wife beater, and it's an aptly named article of clothing.
Yeah, no, seriously. Dude, we were sitting at like a Chick-fil-A in Florida one time. It was just me and my friends. And they had like an outdoor one, so you could sit. It was summertime.
This is
winter.
when you worked there?
No, it was whatever. So we were sitting outside and we're just hanging out, eating, and then this dude just like walks up. In Florida, everything is by the highway.
Yeah.
So he's walking
That's
up, and he's yelling at his girlfriend or something, and his girlfriend's like, "Fuck you, get away!" And we're just, it's a scene, so everybody's staring at them.
Right.
And he's in a wife beater, short, short crop blonde hair, fucking methy looking dude or whatever, but he's kind of jacked. And we're just sitting there watching this whole thing, and he sort of notices us staring, so he sort of strides up to us, and then he pounds his fist on our table. He goes, "Any of you guys bad?"
Jesus Christ.
And we're all like, "No."
No, sir.
No, sir.
Were you just looking? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he goes, "Anybody want to be bad?" We're like, "No, man." And he goes, "Duh!" And he just walks away.
Jesus Christ, dude.
People, dude.
And my
they-
friend Dan was like, "Oh, I fucked him up."
And the guy said, "What?" And he goes, "Nothing, sir." There is stuff that exists. There are liberal terms, like hyper liberal terms, that progressives say that you're like, I mean, come on, God, can we just chill?
Like what?
Like toxic
What do you mean?
masculinity.
Yeah.
And then stuff like this happens in your life, and you're like, they have a point. Like,
Yeah.
I actually think they have a point to a degree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that only a man or woman, but only a man so just vastly insecure would
Yeah.
feel the need to create violence for no reason. Pointless violence.
Right.
Yeah.
Like mega pointless violence.
Yeah, to where you're willing to go to prison and or get your ass kicked, one or the other,
Yeah.
because somebody honked their horn at you.
Yeah, even if
Like
you're
that's where your mind goes.
and flipped you off. When you, by the way, did
Oh,
the
yeah, I forgot
original
about
bad
that,
thing,
yeah.
and in New York City, flipping someone off is not. I mean, if I fucked up and someone flipped me off, I certainly, at best, at worst, I'd be like, "Fuck that guy," even
Yeah.
though I screwed up, just because you view yourself as a protagonist, like kind of
Right.
unimpeachably good. That's my worst response is like in the car, like fucking asshole. And then maybe I probably though knowing would be like, "Yep, I know, shouldn't have done it, my bad."
Yeah. Anger is the weirdest thing. The thing I love about anger is that whenever you're outside of it, when you're just looking at it, it's always funny. Anger is always funny when it's
Yeah.
happening to somebody else. Nobody ever makes sense being angry.
And
know.
like the
I
amount,
didn't want pickles on it.
dude.
It's like the
Exactly.
pettiest. I didn't want pickles on it. Just when you're in that
Yeah.
mind frame and you're saying the pettiest thing,
yeah.
but it feels like
These socks don't match. And you're like, what?
it's gonna be.
Who gives a fuck?
You're
dude?
just going to your friend's house. Like it's not.
Yeah, well, the amount of times I've lost my shit on things by myself when no one's around, I always think, I'm like, if this was on camera, like everybody'd be like, "You're the dumbest guy ever." Like, what are you talking about?
And some of them have been.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus.
Dude, the funniest thing ever was when you broke that Madden game.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Christian just did this like you did it in the palm of
I
your
did.
hand.
Did.
He
I
took
did.
a Madden disc.
Like Thor.
He goes, this is a video that's probably still online somewhere.
I think I deleted it.
He goes,
but-
he looks into the camera and goes, "Hey,
Hey, EA Sports.
This is what I think about your pathetic attempt at football." And he crushes the disc in his hand. He just crushes a full man.
It's I can't play it because they're not good games.
Yo,
dude.
time out.
Like it's
What?
like
no,
it's
no,
one
no,
thing.
no. Before we gotta make fun of you before you get to justify it.
I'm not gonna justify it. I'm just gonna tell you why I hate those games. There's
What-
no justification of my anger that
I love
happens.
that he thinks that like the EA guy is like, "Oh God."
Well, if somebody
that
like
thing he
if
spent
somebody
money on.
I
if
know.
somebody did that to your album, you come out with an album like, "Christian, this is what I think you're shit," you'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, what did I do to that guy?"
But the lead designer isn't like watching.
Well,
that.
he fucking should be. He should check his fucking mentions, bro.
No, I think if someone said to camera, "Hey, Christian Durant, this is what I think of your album by your band," there's no way you wouldn't crack up.
Yeah,
I was
guess
thinking a
someone
stand-up album.
Thanos your album.
Yeah, I know. This is what I think of your pathetic attempt at comedy. Crunch.
This is why that's hilarious to me. Whit is in your anger mindset. There, you thought this was gonna send a message. Like you,
Totally
there's
did.
part of you that thought
Yeah.
that was gonna happen. That video was gonna happen, and
Yeah.
it was gonna make waves in the EA offices, and they're gonna be like, "Guys, we fucked up so bad."
Yeah, I mean, I wish, dude, because those games are. This is what.
So
this
what?
Is,
Yeah. Why did you break the game?
because this is what happens with Madden games. Is so Madden starting in like 2000.
You hear
Is there a
that?
noise?
Yeah, there's like a noise. Did I?
It might be the headphones.
Okay.
In Madden, starting in like 2003 or 2002, got a monopoly on NFL games. So there used to be competitors, and then there just wasn't competitors anymore. I don't think it's on the audio, guys. I think it's just in our ears because of the
All right, cool.
headphones.
So there's no longer competitors, so you're like,
So
they just don't have
basically,
to try.
yeah. So Madden will literally just diarrhea out a new Madden game
Yeah.
every year with just a roster update and charge $65 for it.
Yeah.
But then like they'll they're like, oh, we made all these fixes, and you buy the game and you're like, this is the fucking dumbest game. And if you know anything about football, playing it insults your intelligence, and nothing pisses me off than having my intelligence insulted. I mean, you might have to understand
No, it
football.
doesn't.
To know.
It doesn't say on screen. You're a fucking idiot.
No,
You
but the
pick
things,
all out
yeah, but
blitz,
if
and
you
it's-
do something in front of me and I'm supposed to just accept it as part of the game and not go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, that's insulting my intelligence.
What do you mean? Sometimes it glitches, like an arm goes through an arm.
Yeah, so here's a good example: is no receiver ever catches a pass and then tries to keep their feet in bounds. So you throw it to the sideline and a guy catches the ball and just makes zero attempt to keep their feet in bounds. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, who made this game? Like, who designed it and says, yeah, they don't do that in the NFL?
No,
Have you ever watched football?
They know that. They just
Yeah, I know. They just
didn't try that hard.
I know, and that pisses me off. And I think that
But
these
it's not
people
a-
should be beaten.
it's
But
not
also,
an
that's like a thing that happens in the like. If you watch like anybody play the game, they're gonna do what? How come nobody ever stays in bounds like any receiver? But that's like,
But
that's
it's
just a thing.
What do you mean it's just a thing?
That's just like part of the game.
Okay, so that's like saying, well, part of the meal, it was just not cooked. It was raw carrots, and I was supposed to just eat it because it was raw. It's part of the meal. No, it's fundamentally wrong.
No, what?
It's wrong. If you've ever watched a game of football, you understand that when anybody catches a ball on the sidelines, they make an attempt to get their feet in bounds, or else it's not a complete pass. So if you're making a simulation of that game, it'd be like if you had a driving game where you turn left and it just didn't turn left. It makes no sense. It's like, why are we doing this?
I have no idea. I would like each of us to be attached to a heart monitor during the podcast.
Well, I have my Fitbit on. I'm at 87 right now. I'm good, baby.
It just goes ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding 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 ding. 242.
Dude, it's bad. And then I remember one time
but
to
who
make
cares?
what do you? Yeah, okay, it's easy to be like when you're completely emotional removed, but when you're
I see what you're saying.
but football's a competition. So if you're playing somebody online and you're competing, and then something happens that's just fucking dumb that insults your intelligence,
Tired of being called a bitch by
it
12-year-olds.
it just fucking angers
You're tired
you.
of being called a bitch by members of BTS online.
That would be great if it was
14-year-old
them.
Korean guys.
like ha ha ha.
You faggot. Like, wow. Jeez.
You're like, whoa, you guys, awesome.
That was so offensive on so
Yeah.
many levels. Like the Korean
Racist,
accent
yeah.
and.
You nailed it though.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but I would like to make also. This is what I would do if I had if I had $1 million. What I would do is I want to make a video of you destroying various Madden games in various ways. Just a supercut of you being like, "Hey Madden, EA, this is what I think your game," and then you just take a baseball bat
Yeah.
and do one.
Just
And
classical
then,
music behind it.
Yeah,
Like, dun-dun, 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 dun-dun,
And then
dun-dun.
another one, riding lawnmower over EA. And then another one where you just hurl it into the ocean.
So another thing that about the game that just I can't deal with is that if you make the game harder to turn the difficulty up to make it more of a challenge, instead of making the CPU better at things, they just make you worse at things. So that's the laziest way of making it harder. It's literally like no one blocks, you throw it to a wide open receiver, he just drops it. You're like, how is this fun? This isn't fun. Why don't you make them better and them smarter and them play better defense? Why are you fucking with me, dude?
I'm just picturing when
I remember I turned fumbling to 0 because they kept fumbling me. And then you know what they did? I swear to God, there's like a glitch that some nerd wrote in there that if you turn fumbling to 0, it happens every other play. I kept fumbling even more, and I was like, they're so angry.
I'm just picturing you turn it to the highest difficulty, which is like all Madden.
Yeah.
And then you hike it, and your quarterback just goes,
No bullshit. That's what happens. That's what happens.
That's
He
so
runs to his
dumb.
own touchdown.
Yeah. I do think it's a great take that they don't make them better. They just make you absolute shit
That's
at the
so
game.
funny.
They do, man. It's terrible.
That's so funny. But you've beat it on franchise mode. I know you have.
like completed a season?
Let me ask you this. This is a personal question. Have you made yourself starting quarterback and then...
Oh, yeah. I
Okay,
mean, I've
cool,
been playing
'cause-
Madden since I was like 10, though. So
Yeah, I've done that, but I also made Bret Rabel a black guy. So
You can put your face in there now, right?
That's another thing. So they fucking had a game. It was Madden 15. You could put your face in, and I was like, "That's cool." And then Madden 16, they just didn't. I'm like, you got worse.
they were like, well,
And
they,
you charged $60 and you took features away. Like,
No,
how
that-
can you do that?
that
Like,
was just, they were like, that was hard. That was a lot of work,
That was a lot of
guys.
work. No, there was like it was a bad idea. People just kept putting their dicks on.
But,
the face.
but here's the thing, though. It was an insanely popular thing. It was called Game Face.
Yeah.
You would literally take a picture of your face, and then it would go on to like EA, and then
Yeah.
EA would like put it on a player, and like everybody
do
was
that.
doing it. It was like the funnest shit ever, and then they just took it away.
You can do it on the wrestling games.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be fun for wrestling too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Have you done it?
Of course.
Can each of you bring in your digital avatars? Is there a way?
I could bring a picture
I mean,
of
I
it.
haven't played in a long time, but I don't even know if I can
Well, your
find
game is it's shredded in a
one. Yeah, I was about to
landfill.
say the last one I
Yeah.
had, I ripped into pieces out of my bare hands.
I
so.
think I vaguely remember that video of you gorilla palming.
God, just bad, just lazy.
I love wit rants. That if you were talking, we want to talk about segments.
Yeah, that's a segment right there.
Wit rants. I'm unreasonable. No. I'm kidding.
No, it's.
But they're good rants.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get too angry.
Is it selfish as your friend that I like when misfortune befalls you?
Dude.
Because you,
I think people think that I'm full of shit. Like, I think Christian one time was like, shit actually happens to you. I'm like, I'm not making it. I know I sound crazy, but I'm telling you, injustices happen to me all the time, and I don't
There's
know.
something on the wing.
I think I'm your unreasonable friend who just only reviews you as, oh, here Wit goes again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you could come up to me and you'd be like, my fucking arm got cleaved off.
Right.
And I'd be like, come
Come on, dude.
Really? Well, yeah, it's Apple.
What were you doing?
What were you wearing, Whitmer? What were you wearing when your arm got cleaved off? Was it a Bruins jersey?
I didn't even
I
know.
would have deserved it
You
then.
know, when I first met you, you weren't like super angry. I
Fat.
don't
Oh,
think.
sorry.
I always had a temper.
Yeah, but I didn't know you to
my
be.
grandmother told the story that when I was a kid, like I would just say I hate stuff all the time. I was like, I hate this, and she's like, Nicholas, we don't hate, and then I would always say, but I hate it. So it's been in there.
She's like, Nicholas, as long as it's Obama, you can hate. That's who you can hate.
See this right here? This is the enemy. Do they have Southern accents, your family?
We don't call 911.
Dude, that is
the
one of my...
dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I saw a sign in New York that says, I don't call 911. And then just a photo of a hand with a gun.
Well, that's what my grandmother shared.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, I've seen that poster like on a yard sign
Yeah.
in New York City.
I just think it's so funny. It's like, well, so if your husband has a heart attack, you're just gonna shoot. Like, you're gonna shoot him.
Yeah.
You're just gonna shoot him.
Just end him.
You're gonna shoot his heart to stop attacking
I love
him.
that's a part of CPR.
Clear.
Ugh.
Yeah, guns are the ultimate solution, as we
Yeah,
all
as
know.
always. Yes, definitely.
Whitmer, your families, not families, one of you remember your family's Facebook posts truly are hilarious.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot
Oh.
of- it's like religious and like Trumpian.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the scary thing about social media is that I literally looked at the Facebook feed, and it was literally a different world. Like everything, because you can just customize everything to fit whatever viewpoint you want. So
Yeah.
everything you see is just reinforcing your terrible opinions.
You looked at one of their Facebook feeds.
Yeah, I
Like
picked up the
whoever.
iPad because they're like, this is not working. So I picked it
Yeah.
up to work, and I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I was literally like, Obama meme, guns, Jesus, Obama meme, gungy, and it's just like literally, and it's all scare tactics. It's
Right.
like Obama was gonna do this, and now Trump's doing this, and they're trying to do Trump, and everybody's also trying to catch you in a lie. Like every single person's biggest thing is calling somebody a hypocrite. They're like, when the liberals did this, no one said anything, but then they did that, and then this happened. It's like all the time. That's what every meme is. It's just because everybody's a hypocrite. Okay. That's it. Everybody is.
And then you go, all right, we're all hypocrites. Can we just now try and have the best ideas win and stop just trying to get body pot shots on people?
Yeah, that's all it is. They're just trying to embarrass the other side. It has nothing to do with actually debating or coming to a better solution or anything. It's just about embarrassing the other side.
Yeah, I could see. Did you, when you were in that feed, did you feel part of yourself being like, oh man, Obama is like a terrorist? Did it work?
Yes. I was radicalized.
Well, the
And
thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's just gonna be probably a nice funny joke.
Well, no, it's just like,
I kind of want to do it now.
yeah, go for it.
Get the crickets ready. Shit, what was the joke? Well, it's definitely not going to be funny now. Go ahead, Christian.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
You know what's funny? That wasn't on the soundboard. Wade just does a
This is
really
a
good
mean impression.
I can
That's
do
a
a Peter
really
Griffin
good
like
Peter
anybody.
Griffin.
No, I'm just gonna say it's so funny that people do this like, tribal warfare shit. Because it's like, all right, my thing is like, all right, we want our side to win, but it's like, what's the end game though? Like, is anybody thinking about that? Like,
Well, that's the thing. I think it's like no one wants to get it right. They just want to be right.
yeah.
So it has nothing to do with like Florida could be underwater in 15 years because of climate change. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they're kind of saying.
Yeah.
And if it happens, literally, it doesn't matter. The other side isn't going to be like, you're right. We fucked up.
We fucked up. Yeah.
They're gonna twist it to be like,
Gay people made it.
yeah, exactly.
It's all them gay farts in the ozone. Like what?
Specifically blaming gay farts. Like straight people's farts.
Yeah.
There's something
Totally
about
clean.
the heterosexual
Yeah.
experience that makes your methane clean.
It's all the jizz and the buttholes and the fart, methane gas coming together.
Christian does a mean Florida impression, having been a person from Florida.
Florida. That's a Florida impression.
That's another
actually.
thing we never really talk about is you grew up in Florida and how all the crazy headlines. Do you have any like crazy Florida stories?
No, like, I mean, I really have to like think about it and just like that crazy guy is like that crazy guy and like going with giving that kid a ride home and him getting crack. Remember
Oh
when I
yeah,
told you?
Ramsey. I can't believe it.
Oh,
My friend
yeah.
Ramsey
It's the
getting
funniest.
crack.
This is Ramsey is the
Yeah, dude.
crack fiend. It's fucking hilarious.
It's just weird stuff like that. I don't really
That
like.
is funny. Ramsey the crack fiend.
Yeah.
This is Bartholomew the heroin dealer.
Me and my friend Winston going by crack cocaine. You're like, what?
Just a lot of like. There's just always drug stuff. I mean, anytime you see, it's just because Florida's so hot and there's nothing to do. Like you don't want to like go outside.
Yeah.
That you just do drugs indoors. And
You
then,
do
like,
bath salts to cool you down. You're like, my skin hurts and I want it to not hurt as much.
Yeah, and then after a while, it's just like, you get on meth and you're like, let's go outside and do shit. And then, you get drunk. It's just
There
a lot
is
of
something-
drunk people and people on drugs.
Isn't there something awesome about the fact that apparently bath salts get you fucking crazy zonked? Isn't that like funny that like a spa thing? Like, could you imagine
think
if you
bath
put
salts-
cucumbers on your eyes, then you wanted to eat someone's face?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
know what you mean.
Bath salts, of
But
all things.
Isn't bath salts just like a term, like a slang term?
Oh,
I
maybe
didn't know
I'm
if
an
it was-
idiot.
I didn't know if it was an actual bath salt.
There's no way it is. There's no way we're just letting that be
Yeah.
sold at Bed Bath & Beyond
I
that
know.
any age person could buy.
And it turns you into a zombie. That was like the most famous like Florida thing ever. A guy got his face eaten off.
I think that was when all the this happened in Florida
Yeah.
stories started.
That was the first one.
yeah.
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, well, how long has Florida been
Probably like 2012, 2011.
that short of amount of time? Because I
Yeah.
felt like Florida
I feel like that was
from before that. We just heard
the hell
someone
was
clap. Anyway, I think just people.
Jesus.
Dude, that is actually the darkest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm really sorry, guys. That That was not called that at all.
Hey, wait. Thanks for playing audio from an ISIS video. Literally like a beheading.
That was literally called Boom.
Oh.
I thought it was going to be like, boom, hey guys, what's up? No, it's just, yeesh.
Oh, dear.
I'm glad we could hear probably a death.
Yeah.
That was one of Obama's speeches, right?
Cool.
I learned from my grandmother, okay?
Oh, dear. That needs to be on the soundboard.
Yeah.
It's Christian's.
Dear.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
We can do it.
I was thinking about this when you mentioned wife beater. If you had to make an opposite of that, you know, wife beater is synonymous with a white tank top.
Yeah.
What's a wife lover? Like, what's the article of clothing that you're like, that's a wife lover?
Cardigan.
No, I disagree. Because I thought of something like that, and that's like
It's whatever
that's
dumb
like,
shit your girlfriend makes you
no,
wear.
cardigan is like a wife emotional beater. Like a scarf or a cardigan is like, oh, that's someone who's really manipulative.
I wear scarves.
Like wife lover? Is it like, are we thinking like ironic?
No, like,
Or are
what
we
would be
thinking
like,
like-
oh, that's like probably a good guy. Like, that's a good guy article of clothing. Probably like insane clown
I'm
posse
sorry, I'm still
makeup.
laughing at that sound. Someone just cut up a fucking suicide bombing and then put it as a... Oh my god, that's so dark and so fucked up.
You know what? That really affected me.
I've been thinking about it. Like, it's like, oh my god.
That was a bummer.
Anyway, same time next week.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
There's something funny about ending on that, but that's funny for us. I don't know if it's funny for viewers to be left with.
Yeah.
Should
I'm
I
not
play
even-
it again and then stop?
No.
Can we end on let's just do a BTS song
Yeah.
No.
Just to raise our spirits.
to raise our spirits. BTS, their first album
BTS
was
forever.
called
That's what I think their songs sound like. BTS forever.
Every song they say BTS in.
Forever. Do they sing in English?
I don't know.
This is good.
How do these girls know which guy is singing?
Yeah.
Now is where you play the suicide
This-
bomb. Oh shit.
Clock and strangle.
Oh dear.
Is this the song we played earlier?
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. This is playing us out.
This is an instrumental one. It's actually a pretty good one.
It's just an instrumental
All
one?
right,
Yeah.
everybody.
It's good though.
Thank you so much for tuning in
Yeah,
to
guys.
the
You can hear my
podcast.
trombone in a second.
Oh, yeah?
You fuck you. It's in like 8 minutes.
He's like, I have a trombone solo at 7 minutes in.
So hey, great 14-minute instrumental.
It actually is long.
Thank
not
you
14 minutes.
for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
We're gonna play you off with some sweet, sweet CSS.
I like giant small giant small.
We're like making music here.
Oh god.
The mix of your soundboard and Clock and Strangle.
It almost worked. Is there more sounds?
This is the listen when prom doesn't go as expected. This is what I turn on. We good? Oh yeah.
Baba Booey.
Bacon Donut, will you make me something to eat? I'm hungry. Would you like a bite of, boom, this bass?
All right, guys. That's it. See ya.